Have you ever felt overwhelmed by life's challenges, as though stress, heartbreak, or disappointment are constant companions? What if I told you that over 2,500 years ago, the Buddha uncovered a timeless roadmap to navigate these challenges and find peace? Today we'll explore the Four Noble Truths, a profound yet practical guide to overcoming suffering and living with clarity and purpose. Let's begin with a question. Have you ever faced a moment where life felt overwhelming? It could be the stress of balancing responsibilities, the heartache of losing someone you love, or even the frustration of feeling stuck in a routine. These experiences aren't unique to any one person, they're universal. The Buddha's Four Noble Truths start with this acknowledgement. Suffering, or dukkha, is part of life. But the beauty of his teaching is that it doesn't stop there. Instead of resigning us to a life of pain, it offers us a path to transcend it. Think of it like a doctor diagnosing an illness. First, they identify the problem, suffering. Then they determine the cause, craving or attachment. Next, they offer hope, an end to suffering. Finally, they prescribe the treatment, the Eightfold Path. This ancient wisdom remains just as relevant in today's fast-paced modern world. Let's explore each truth in detail. The first truth is straightforward but profound. Life involves suffering. Yet dukkha isn't just about the obvious pain of physical illness or loss. It also refers to the more subtle feelings of dissatisfaction, unease or impermanence. It's the sense that life, no matter how good it might seem, is never completely fulfilling. In modern life, we encounter dukkha in many forms. The pressure to achieve more at work only to feel burnt out, the heartbreak of a relationship ending, or the grief of losing a loved one. The fleeting joy of a new purchase that quickly fades into the desire for something else. Even in moments of happiness, dukkha lurks beneath the surface. We worry about losing what we have or not achieving what we want. Think about the excitement of a vacation, quickly followed by the dread of it ending and returning to routine life. Buddha doesn't present this truth to make us feel hopeless. Instead, he's encouraging us to face reality as it is. By acknowledging suffering, we take the first step toward understanding it and eventually transcending it. Reflection exercise. Take a moment to consider where dukkha shows up in your life. Is it in your relationships, your career, or your daily routines? Recognizing it is the first step toward finding peace. The second truth delves deeper. Suffering arises from tanha, often translated as craving, thirst, or attachment. At its core, tanha is the relentless desire for things to be different from what they are. In today's world, this craving manifests in countless ways. The endless pursuit of material possessions, always needing the latest gadget, car, or home upgrade. The desire for perfect relationships, which often leads to disappointment when our partners don't meet our expectations. The comparison trap on social media, where we envy others' lives and feel inadequate about our own. Even our desire for happiness can become a form of attachment. We cling to the idea that life should always be joyful, and when it's not, we resist the reality of the moment. But here's the key insight. It's not the things themselves that cause suffering, it's our attachment to them. When we believe our happiness depends on external circumstances, we set ourselves up for pain. Imagine craving recognition at work. You pour all your energy into a project expecting praise. But when the praise doesn't come, or isn't what you hoped for, you feel crushed. The craving for validation has now become a source of suffering. The next time you feel stressed or disappointed, ask yourself, what am I clinging to in this moment? By identifying your attachment, you begin to loosen its grip. The third truth brings a profound realization. Suffering can end. Known as Nirodha, this concept teaches us that liberation from the cycle of suffering is possible. But what does this really mean? It's not about eliminating pain entirely. It's about changing our relationship with it. At its core, Nirodha is about letting go. Letting go of our attachments, our cravings, and the stories we tell ourselves about how life should be. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with worries, expectations, and regrets. Each step feels harder, and your body strains under the weight. Now imagine setting that backpack down. You instantly feel lighter and freer. This is the experience of Nirodha. When we let go of attachment, we're not giving up on life or becoming indifferent. Instead, we're embracing life fully, but without being enslaved by it. Losing a job might still bring uncertainty, but it no longer defines your worth. A breakup might still hurt, but it doesn't take away your capacity for love and joy. Failing at a goal might be disappointing, but it becomes a lesson rather than a source of shame. Consider this. When we cling to outcomes, we create tension. We want things to go a certain way, and when they don't, we suffer. Nirodha invites us to loosen our grip. This doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we care without attachment. Think about a parent teaching their child to ride a bike. They want their child to succeed, but if they cling to the idea of perfection, that their child must never fall or wobble, they only create stress for both themselves and the child. Instead, by letting go of rigid expectations, they can enjoy the process and support their child's growth with patience and understanding. Observe your reactions. Notice when you feel frustrated or upset. Ask yourself, what am I attached to at this moment? Practice gratitude. Shift your focus from what's missing to what's present. Gratitude helps loosen the grip of craving. Meditation for letting go. Visualize your attachments as leaves floating down a stream. Watch them drift away, leaving your mind clearer and lighter. Nirodha empowers us by showing that we don't have to be victims of our circumstances. While we can't control everything that happens in life, we can control how we respond. This realization is liberating. It gives us the strength to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. The fourth truth provides the solution to suffering, the Eightfold Path. This is the Buddha's step-by-step guide to living a life of wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. Think of it as a practical roadmap to achieving peace and fulfillment. The Eightfold Path isn't about rigid rules. It's a framework for aligning your thoughts, actions, and intentions with the principles of harmony and compassion. Let's explore each step in greater depth and see how it applies to modern life. Right view is about seeing life clearly, understanding the impermanence of all things, and recognizing the nature of suffering. In today's world, this means shifting from a mindset of "why is this happening to me?" to one of curiosity and acceptance. When a plan falls apart, instead of dwelling on disappointment, remind yourself that change is natural and part of life's flow. This perspective helps you navigate setbacks with resilience. Reflect on the impermanence of daily experiences. Notice how emotions, thoughts, and events come and go like waves in the ocean. Right intentions involve cultivating thoughts of kindness, compassion, and non-harm. It's about letting go of self-centered desires and replacing them with a genuine wish for the well-being of others. Instead of competing with a colleague for recognition, focus on supporting their success. This not only fosters harmony, but also strengthens your own sense of fulfillment. Start your day by setting an intention, such as today. I will act with patience and compassion. Revisit this intention throughout the day. Right speech emphasizes the power of words. It encourages truthfulness, kindness, and avoiding gossip or harmful language. Imagine being in an argument. Right speech invites you to pause and ask, is what I'm about to say true, necessary, and kind? This mindfulness can transform conflicts into opportunities for understanding. Try a word fast for a day. Speak only when necessary and ensure your words are positive and constructive. Right action is about living ethically and aligning your behavior with your values. It involves avoiding harm and acting with integrity. In a world of convenience, choosing to reduce waste or support fair trade products can be an act of right action that benefits others and the planet. Reflect on your daily actions. Ask yourself, do my choices reflect the person I want to be? Right livelihood encourages us to pursue work that contributes positively to society and avoids causing harm. A career in environmental conservation or education aligns with right livelihood, as it promotes the well-being of others. Conversely, work that exploits others or harms the environment conflicts with this principle. Reflect on how your job aligns with your values. If change isn't immediately possible, consider small ways to bring compassion into your work. Right effort is about finding balance. It's not about overexertion or laziness, but consistently striving to improve yourself. If you're learning a new skill, focus on steady progress rather than perfection. Celebrate small milestones to stay motivated. Identify one negative habit you'd like to replace with a positive one, such as turning off your phone during meals to be more present. Right mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in each moment. In our fast-paced world, this step is more crucial than ever. Instead of rushing through your morning coffee, take a moment to savor its aroma, taste, and warmth. This simple act of mindfulness can ground you in the present. Set reminders throughout the day to pause, take a deep breath, and observe your surroundings. Right concentration involves developing focus and clarity through meditation. It strengthens your mind, helping you navigate challenges with calmness and wisdom. During a stressful day, a few minutes of meditation can help clear your mind and restore your sense of balance. Begin with 5 minutes of meditation daily. Gradually increase the duration as you become more comfortable with the practice. The Eightfold Path isn't a quick fix. It's a lifelong journey. Each step builds on the others, creating a foundation for inner peace and resilience. In modern life, it provides tools to navigate stress, improve relationships, and cultivate a sense of purpose. By practicing these principles, we move closer to a state of equanimity, a balanced mind that remains steady amidst life's ups and downs. Start by choosing one aspect of the Eightfold Path to incorporate into your life. For example, begin a 5-minute mindfulness practice each morning. Reflect on whether your speech and actions align with your values. Look for ways to bring kindness into your daily interactions. Over time, these small changes can lead to profound transformations. The Four Noble Truths are more than ancient philosophy. They're a timeless guide to living with clarity, resilience, and peace. By understanding the nature of suffering, identifying its causes, and following the Eightfold Path, we can create a life that's free from unnecessary pain. Imagine facing life's challenges with grace, knowing that you're no longer a prisoner of attachment or fear. This is the freedom that Buddha invites us to discover. As Buddha said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." Thank you for joining me on this exploration. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to spread these teachings to others seeking peace in a chaotic world. Let's continue this journey together.